20 years ago, I dreamed about being a filmmaker. And now I'm 40 and I'm still chasing that dream. But that's okay. If you had told me back then that I wouldn't have made it by now, I might have reconsidered this path. Because filmmaking is not an easy journey. And not to use the cliche saying that, life is not about the destination, it is about the journey. And it's a lot easier said than done. But if we do these things as a filmmaker, kind of like these Transparency Tuesdays, and stop and reflect and think, well, what have I learned? How have I grown? I would say that I definitely have. And success, whether it's making it or selling or whatever it is, I think it's one of those things that if success came too easily, would we really understand it or even appreciate it? And so I want to get back into doing these Transparency Tuesdays, Anthony and I both, to share our stories, share my story, of my highs, my lows, what I've learned, where I've failed, but really focusing and pushing myself to kind of get back to my roots of what brought me into this kind of 20 years ago, wanting to be a filmmaker, which is writing. And so this year I really want to focus and take that leap as being a professional writer and thinking about and kind of all the steps that I'm going to be taking this year and the focus of that. And hopefully that me sharing this story for all of you out there that maybe just need a little bit more inspiration or kind of that push to see where you're going in your own life and to stop and reflect and say, where am I? Last year when I turned 40, I took this time to reflect, and sure enough, I went back to 5 years ago when we started filming I. And here we are, still in post-production, struggling to finish all the visual effects with a tiny crew. And it's super easy to beat myself up over all this and not accomplishing what I wanted to, which is finish a feature film. But then I realized I have grown. As a teacher, I've achieved a lot. I have become this jack of all trades, really learning so many different facets as a filmmaker, which can help you as a storyteller. And, but again, that's the realization that the jack of all trades, the master of none, that I have been being pulled in so many different directions that I've lost focus on what I really set out to master, which is screenwriting. Life can throw a lot at you. Between work, family, and everything in between, it's easy to lose focus on our personal goals as they tend to take a back seat. For me, myself, that's been trying to balance my career, my marriage, being a new dad, teaching, all these things, and all of which bring me a lot of joy. But I've realized that I still need to honor my own dreams and ambitions. And that's why this year I'm committing to put myself out there as a screenwriter. I've written several, feature-length scripts, some by myself, some with Anthony, have definitely a lot more in development. And I think it's now time to put myself out there to strategically market myself and find a literary manager who can guide and mentor me on this journey. So as I've been reflecting and thinking about what this year may look like and planning for that, here's some of the things that Anthony and I have talked about, which first thing is going through a list of all of our stories we've written or are in development and trying to think about the top 10 stories that we would love to sell or who best sell who we are as writers. The next thing is finding literary managers. So doing the research and looking out there and trying to identify, managers who we think would be best fit at representing us as writers, whether that's just from the styles or genres or even goals that we think that would help mentor us. Next thing is crafting the perfect pitch. And this is probably the part that scares me the most, is putting myself out there and pitching myself, because most people hate talking about themselves as much as they may be really good at something. When you say, tell me who you are, you just fold up. And so writing a query letter and preparing our portfolio. Big part of what I'm going to be bad at, and I already know it, but I'm going to hold myself to it, is being consistent, setting deadlines, and dedicating time each week to write as much as I tell my students, just 5 pages a day. If it's 30 minutes, that's great. Even if you can write 5 pages, or if you can do some research or do some outlining or character development, whatever it is, just some time each day to your craft. And another thing that Anthony and I are going to do is better networking. I feel like we've done a poor job of networking. We've met a lot of great people in the past. Some people in and around this Dayton, Cincinnati area that are fantastic people and that we love, and we feel that we've just lost connection as life has gotten busy. So reconnecting with them and staying consistent with that part too, and always seeing where we can help each other out, because that's what filmmaking is. It's a community. Last part, embracing rejection. It's probably going to happen. Guarantee I'm going to have people say, nope, don't like it, not interested. And that's okay. It's just learning that, that's part of the gig, and that's part of the business, and not to take it personal. This video isn't just about me or for me. It's about all of us out there who have had big dreams, filmmakers, business, whatever you are, and just those dreams that maybe have just slightly got out of reach. And I want to encourage you all to reflect on those dreams, and how do you take that next step, how daunting it feels. And I know this year's going to be challenging. I know there are going to be days that I'm tired or discouraged or just ready to give up for whatever reason is. But I'm going to hold myself accountable. And I hope that no matter what your dream is, that you hold yourself accountable too. Because in the end, growth comes from pushing ourselves, being vulnerable, and taking risks. So, what are you waiting for?